You're very welcome here today. Thank you so much for giving up your time. For the benefit of our viewers, I wonder if you would just introduce yourself and give us a little bit about your role and the organisation in which you're involved.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Fiona Crotty and I work with Tipperary County Council in the Community and Social Inclusion Unit. I have specific responsibility for Tipperary Age Friendly, Healthy Ireland, Keep Well and other social inclusion aspects.
Okay, so you're kind of busy then. So one of the ones that we'd love to talk about today is the Tipperary Understand Together.
Yeah, so Tipperary Understand Together is a Healthy Ireland funded action, and it is focusing and working on increasing dementia awareness within the county. It originally started off with 3 geographical locations, which was Roscrea as Tipperary's first age-friendly town, Clogheen and Toomevara as 2 centres of high older adult population within the county. This was all planned pre-COVID, but the intention and the aspiration of the project is still very much the same. So the aspiration was to engage public town hall style meetings, to have a public meeting just to get general community awareness in relation to increasing awareness of dementia. Yeah. The second strand of an element then was to engage with the business community and again to look at simple steps and simple things that they could do in terms of supporting people that live within their own community that attend their retail and opportunities. And the third element of what we were hoping to achieve and will achieve was to get community groups. So again, we have 3,500 people living with dementia in Tipperary. So within that cohort, there are people, the majority live within our community. So we want the person that has been a GA member all their lives, that is on their journey with living with dementia, that they are supported to remain active within the club, to still attend matches, to remain part of their community, so that the families are also supported on that journey. So they're the 3 core elements. Then we had COVID, so we had to reevaluate our delivery. So now instead of those 3 geographic locations for that community engagement piece, we've evolved to having an all-county, and the project has very much evolved. So we delivered in partnership with the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland and the National Understand Together office. We have delivered Learn, Listen, Link training. It was an online to the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland platform. So that Learn, Listen, Link, again, it's obviously looking about learning about dementia. It's about listening to the learned and the lived experience of people, those living with dementia. And it's also then linking, again, making those connections. So in our project and how we tried to evolve our project, we looked at, in absence of the 3 physical locations, tried to build it in a geographical location. So we had the first meeting for the Thurles Municipal District, for example. That was trying to get people living within that community so that when it returns to face, we have people of interest that are interested in dementia in that catchment, that we can achieve actions in those locations. So we tried to replicate that across the county. We've also had meetings with our councillors. So of the councillors, 31 of our councillors attended a fantastic workshop. And we had people from the Irish Dementia Working Group attend that. So Kevin McQuaid spoke very eloquently. He's a gentleman from Kanturk living with dementia. And I suppose it really resonates with you when you're listening to that lived and that learned experience of somebody that's actually living, and the simple things that we could do, like having a dementia awareness sign on your local shop as you're going in to know they're dementia friendly. It makes him feel safe and feel still very much part of the community.
It sounds, I suppose, listening to it, it's an educational piece as well, because the reality is that most of us, we hear dementia, or we hear about Alzheimer's or whatever, and we go, yeah, that's awful, and we think there's nothing that we can do, is probably the way we have been. Whereas what you're doing is you're really opening it up and starting conversations and encouraging us to talk.
Yeah. And I think that's very, very true as well. And it is very much removing that stigma, I suppose. Yeah. And also about like, as I'm still learning, very much learning about the various types of dementia, the stages of dementia. But for me, ultimately, it's to have that conversation. This is starting that conversation. I consider what we're, the Tipperary Understand Together project, is very much a journey. This is a journey as to how we can all make our towns, our communities, we can all take simple actions to ensure that those living with dementia within our communities are enabled and supported to live active lives and to remain active within our communities. So we
and to be involved in as much as is possible for them based on their energy on that day.
Yes.
And I love even when you mentioned about the going to the match, and it mightn't be family that bring them, but it might be a neighbour. And again, it creates a social interaction for them as well, and someone different to have a chat with, which sounds lovely. Love the idea as well about the shops, so that somebody will feel, I'm okay coming in here. They're going to understand. They'll have patience with me.
Yes, and so we will be doing a specific target group with the Chamber of Commerce, and as the restrictions will enable, potentially we might do that face to face by location as well as it. There are some fantastic locations that are already very much dementia champions and dementia friendly, have already undertaken, that dementia awareness course, and so there are an awful lot of people already on that journey. Similarly, there are amazing dementia community champions across the county, and that are already very proactively in their community. So I'm looking to partner with all of those. And another key element of the Healthy Ireland funded action for that Tipperary County Council staff, supported by an architect who has specific training in universal design and in cognitive behaviour, is actually going to conduct a walkability study. So the first one we will undertake in Musgrave, and the second one we will undertake in Clonmel. That walkability will look at the most traversed routes in the town, and of areas within that then that are most utilised. So where the routes to the post office, the routes to the bank. So I think that they'll look at those, and our staff will actually be trained in the train the trainer style, so that in time they can actually carry out that same walkability in other towns around the county. So while we're only starting with those two initially, that will evolve. So again, that's looking at maybe practical solutions that we can achieve, to support, obviously just with universal design, that's looking at, that's good for any of us really in terms of our mobility and our ability. But the additional cognitive pieces where this supports people living with dementia in terms of signage, and areas that can enhance, if somebody's disorientated, that again, it'll just enable them just to make them feel safe within the community.
And
so they're simple
to maybe get their bearings. I'm here, and then know what to do. So that's two of the things that are sort of coming down the line with it. Is there anything else, or it's quite a lot at the moment?
Yeah, so again, the project was envisaged. It started out with those three geographical, and the project has evolved, and it's fantastic. It has evolved to the whole county and to that approach. But in addition to that, so many additional benefits have been achieved. I was fortunate enough to be asked to be part of a working group to set up a new dementia cafe. So we are set up a dementia cafe, one for Nina and one for Killaloo and Ballina. So they're both affiliated with the family resource centres in Silver Arch in Nina, and with the Killaloo Ballina Family Resource Centre in Killaloo. So we have Alfred Devan, she's a public health nurse, and Sean Donald is the dementia advisor for North Tipperary, and Noel Clancy from Silver Arch. So we have set up dementia cafes. We had our first information meeting, and they will roll out in a virtual capacity in the short term. And then from there, we will eventually be back to face-to-face meetings. But for me, that's only the kernel, that's the start. Ross Gray are already wanting to know when we're starting up there. We're looking with Clonmel, with Jared Redden, who works with he's an LGBT support worker, and Jared is looking to set up an LGBT dementia cafe. It's the first of the kind in the country. So, and that's specifically to assist and support people on that dementia journey that are living with dementia. So, as I mentioned, the kernel is evolving. And another, I suppose, fantastic aspect that also has evolved, I suppose, in terms of as community and social inclusion, we're hoping to do in school engagement. So again, we'll take Clonmel and Roscrea as being our pilot locations for both of those, and that's aligned to the fact that the Roscrea is our first age-friendly town. So within that, we hope to do school engagement in secondary school setting, where we will look at a dementia awareness and intergenerational piece work with them, and that will be assisted by the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. Jared Redden and our Joanne McCarthy will do in terms of the LGBT social inclusion participation. And then we will also look at disability, and we will also look at engagement with the non-Irish communities. So, and again, and I will also do a piece on combating ageism. So across that spectrum, it's looking at inclusion. So again, this has evolved primarily from that 3 location centred piece that we had hoped to aspire, and it has evolved from there.
And so it's actually grown maybe because of other things that you couldn't do, and got more people involved in the long term, which is...
Yeah, I certainly think COVID has obviously brought around an awful lot of challenges in terms of our delivery, but it has also provided us with great opportunities, because we've had to refocus, re-evolve, and look at how we can do things differently, and that has also brought about, okay, well, we can try and do this, and it has opened up opportunities certainly in terms of delivery.
And it just shows how important this is to do. If I want to find out more, or maybe one of my family want to find out more, where can I? And the other thing I'm thinking, with all the projects you have on the go, how can I get involved?
Okay, so certainly to get involved, my contact information I'll leave on the end, it'll be shown on the end of this slide, or you can email me as well. All my contact information will be there.
Brilliant.
So to get involved in dementia awareness, certainly look at on our own website, tipperarycoco.ie, but the National the National Understand Together campaign outlines the various host of community engagement and supports, but certainly for me to be involved in making the journey on making Tipperary more inclusive, certainly please feel free to contact me on 087 125 2938 or Fiona.Crotty, CROTTY @tipperary.coco.ie.
Fiona, thank you so much. This has been really informative. Thank you.
Thank you.